Hi everybody, lovely to be back again for my weekly collage challenge or assignment as part of Margarete Miller's Collage Weekly Planner project for 2023, and as always, details in the description box below the video if that challenge is new to you. So I've got my prompts for this week. I've got my piece of paper as usual and going through my choices for the prompts. The first prompt, sorry, let me move that across. There we go. The first prompt is people. Well, I've got this image that I cut out of a magazine that I saw whilst on holiday in Australia. I just loved this and I knew that I wanted to keep it and that it would come in handy. So I'm going to use that. I'm hoping, actually I've not checked it. It's going to be a bit tight on my piece, but never mind. I'm definitely going to use it though. The second prompt is something that turns or spins. Well, this is an advert for a watch. There's the winder and there's the gubbins inside. So I'm going to be using that. The third prompt, something that starts with the letter G. Well, I've got this sweet wrapper from Gavott's Chocolates. So I'm going to be using that, I think, on my piece. Not absolutely certain, but I think I might. I definitely will be using this, which does start with the letter G. This is absolutely gorgeous. It's a hand-drawn something or other, and it was in an exercise book, and there's all the handwritten writing on the reverse of the page. Now, I have no idea what this is other than it's electrical of some sort, so I'm terming this a gadget or a gizmo. So that, for me, is something that starts with the letter G. The next prompt is book page text. Well, I've got some various pieces here, all foreign. This one's Dutch, this is German, actually this one's English, and this is Dutch as well. So I've got a selection of these and I've gone with them because of the colour palette. I'm going to be using one, but which one I don't know as yet. The next prompt is a date. Well, I've got a date stamped across this check mark and it's just on the diagonal in there. So I'm going to use that. I'm not sacrificing the whole of the envelope. I'm just going to take that portion away and keep the rest, which I can use on another project. And the bonus prompt is a sticker. Well, I was thinking I would go with a botanical sticker of some sort. I want to see how my piece comes together first before I choose something. Let's make a start. First thing I need to do is check how this is going to work on my page. It only just fits if I want to get all 6 people in. This is a nice grouping. I could just go for them, but the background is not particularly interesting. Whereas if I use this couple, then I get more detail in the background and you can see the river going round the corner. So I might end up just using those 4. I don't know as yet, but what I am going to do is I'm going to trim this down on my guillotine to get rid of the white border. As you can see, I've trimmed this down, and as you can see, it sits just inside the border. It doesn't give me any room to have anything else on my piece on either side. I've also trimmed down this piece, and I've trimmed it down as near as I could to the decorative border. I had a look at the pieces of book page that I lifted out, and I think this is going to be the one that is the best. I did wonder about using this one because that actually fits inside the border perfectly, but when you start layering up with things, in particular this, I think it's lost on there. The other option is to maybe use this as a bit of a backing. So let's just have a little play. Do something like this, obviously trim that down, have that there. I've got no scope to trim this piece down on the left hand side, and it's such a shame to get rid of that edge, so I'm thinking it's going to be my people that are going to have to move, and I like this couple here as I've mentioned before, so I'm thinking maybe if I do something like that, I have got scope to reduce this in height, so I'm thinking I might have to do that, and that way at least I can have some of this gold showing and it will kind of lift things for me. I've got this gap here, so I could chop this grouping away. I could have that down there. See, it's not giving me much room at all to play with in terms of width on here, but I am liking that curve. So let me take away some of the top. So I could have that in there like that, and those people there. Pull this over. Just thinking it'd be nice to, as I say, frame this a little bit. I'm going to risk it, and I'm going to cut down there. So there's a little pile of reeds there on the right hand side. So I'm going to trim that picture away to that bunch of vegetation. It's a shame I could put them on the top of this piece, but if I do that, then I lose that lovely torn edge. So I'm kind of wondering about trying to use it to kind of mimic his shoulder, something like that. Let me go back to this other piece of paper. It is very close to this, but what I'm thinking is that if I frame this a little bit with the gold, then it should work. Okay? So let's do that. Now this piece, I've got two gizmos together there, or two gadgets. If I pull that up there, I'm going to lose a lot of my text. I'm wondering whether to trim it down the side and get rid of the word co, so I'm going to do that. I've been having a little bit of play with the configuration because I was struggling to make the size of the image work, as you saw, and I actually started playing with this one, and I actually like how this is looking on the page, because I'm thinking that this seal or check mark here on this stamp could possibly go down in that corner, and then a botanical sticker up across this corner, but I'm actually liking the quirkiness of this. Now these were off to one side. I couldn't work that gadget into this particularly well at all, and that's why I've taken it out. And the reason I've put these people in rather than the ones that I liked was because these are too small. The proportions don't work, and in terms of a focal point, they get, sorry, I'm wafting around the pointer at you, the tweezers at you. In terms of a focal point, they really get lost. My dilemma now is which one I go with. I like this little one because of the envelope, because of this gadget thing, and because of these characters. What I was thinking was that I could take away the gold here and put it underneath these two pieces and trim it down. Use the envelope, which I was planning to use on another project, but it doesn't matter. And then have my book page behind it. And then with this portion here, I could perhaps trim it down a bit more. So I'm going to have a little bit of a play with this and park this for the time being. If I can't get this to work, then you'll see me come back to this configuration and what I mentioned a moment ago, which was to cut out that check stamp there, put it down here, put my botanical sticker across there and call it done. But I'd like to see how I can get on with this one. So let me see what I can do with it. So I'm going to lift those pieces away. So I was thinking this might need trimming down, but I was thinking I could perhaps have it like, it's going to need to be higher, isn't it, like that. Now this would need trimming down, but I'm just going to put it in place for the moment to see how I can get it to look kind of in there like that. I was thinking that I would have to lose part of it so that I can have these two like that side by side. That's taking up too much space, and I'm not getting any of the gold all the way round, which is what I wanted to do. I'd have to get this in. I'm wondering if I do something like that. Now that I've had a little play, I'm going to go back to the original idea. And that is such a shame because I thought that looked really nice on there like that. So yeah, that's not going to work, and such a shame. I wonder if that would work if I did something like that. My book page or my book text could actually be a torn strip paper. It doesn't need to be a whole piece. That works and is quite interesting. What I would probably do is I would probably rip it down here to get a torn edge. Take away some of this up here as well. I'm just trying to think where I would get my sticker on here. Nothing to stop me having it across there. It's amazing how when you play with these, all these options come to mind. I'm going to go and tear away a portion of this piece of paper. I'm thinking that this is an obvious place for a sticker to go, and I'm thinking of a washi botanical sticker, and also here behind. Okay, I'm committing myself. I'm going to go with this one and see how it works. So I've gone with these pieces and I've glued them all down. I need to put my sticker on here. I was thinking initially of having something up this edge here and maybe here, but I'm actually looking at this little spray of flowers down there, and I quite like that down at the bottom here because it goes off that corner, overlaps this piece, and this sprig here is the same colour tones I've got in the picture, and I like this almost dark brown coppery tone that picks up the stamp. So I'm liking that across the bottom there, which doesn't really help me because I feel like I need something up here. And this area here was crying out for something. These leaves here, either one or a couple on there, will pick up this colour here and this. If I can find another couple, I think I might try putting a couple up there. I was lucky enough to find a few more of those leaves in my stash, so I'm going to pop those on as well. Just felt it looked more balanced with 3 up in this top corner. And then I've got another one down here because I thought it might be nice to balance these deep purples out with a little bit more colour. This area up here is calling for something to me. I will see if I can find a number label to go up there. Okay, decision made. I've been auditioning a few of these little labels down at the bottom here. The one that has really caught my eye is just this simple little 106. And I think that is probably the right one to go with. Let me just pull this down a little bit for you. I think that works. I don't think it fights, and it leaves me enough white space around it here for my eye not to immediately go to it. It took me a long time to play with this one, and I'm still, again, not convinced 100% that I've got the composition right. I was just about to call this one a day, and I was sat looking at it thinking it really isn't working for me, and I was trying to analyse why it wasn't working. And what I decided was that these two were fighting with each other. They're both equal size. And then I realised as well that because I had originally intended to have a big botanical sticker going up here, I've got all this space here that isn't right. So I then started playing with this because I felt that that lovely image, lovely as it is, wasn't big enough. And I was playing with this on it thinking, is that right? And I think that that actually looks better. It's not perfect, but it's better because it's a bigger focal image, and it knocks this to the back a little bit and makes this the main image. But then I decided that if I folded that in half and unfortunately cover up this lovely little lady there, that this actually would work better. And I like this, so I'm going to go with this. This is a different height to this one, but marginally. And The reason I folded this in half and decided to use these two gentlemen against this one was that if I do that, then it looks like I've intentionally staggered it. I'm not covering up the fronds or the flowers that I've put down here, which I would do if I went with that, and similarly at the top here. So I'm going to cut this away on my guillotine and I'm going to glue it in place, and then I'm going to walk away, everybody. I promise I am going to walk away. So let me just very, very quickly do that. I have to say, everybody, if you are still with me at this stage in the collage and my journey doing these Margarete Miller's assignments, you deserve a medal, and you've obviously got the patience of Jove, because honestly, it really is a challenge. It makes you absolutely work and think and analyse what you're doing. And whilst this isn't perfect, I am much happier with it. So I'm leaving it, as I say, I'm leaving it where it is. So I finally have people. I've decided on these three. Something that turns or spins. Well, I've got my watch part in the back. Something that starts with the letter G. Well, I've got my gizmo here. My piece of gold paper chocolate wrapper got binned. It's in here amongst the mess somewhere. So I've not used it, but I've got my gadget or my gizmo there. Book page text, well, it's there. A date, I've got it across my stamp there. And a sticker, well, I've got flowers down here and these few pieces up there, and they are washi stickers. So there we go, everybody. Thank you as always for bearing with me and cheering me on and not getting too frustrated with this one. So take care, and I look forward to seeing you next week for assignment number 23. And as always, pictures at the end if you're interested in seeing this a little bit closer. And I'm saying that in fear and trepidation this week. All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye now.